talked about the God of the impossible. A house of joy. And if you noticed, almost all the worship songs had to do with the cross and Christ's sacrifice. You know, if everybody paid attention to that, this world would be one better place.
Amen.
But most people don't. And then they wonder why things are the way they are. God had a pronouncement. In the second commandment, he said, I am a jealous God. I want no other gods before me. You know, we look at other ways to solve problems. We're really putting other gods before him. Many people turn to alcohol to solve their problems when they're stressed, or drugs, or anger. And it's unfortunate that people who do that often pass on those traits to their descendants. We all know that people who are abused often come from abusive homes. And people who are in abusive homes, in an abusive relationship, often end up themselves causing abuse. Because we don't put God in the proper perspective. And it says in Exodus 20, in the second commandment, for I am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the fourth and fifth generations of those who hate me, of those who don't obey him. And that's repeated again in Deuteronomy 5, verse 9. In Numbers 14, verse 18, it says, he's visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generations. Now, both of these occasions were when the people turned away or disobeyed God. That these were the iniquities which God is complaining about. And those iniquities, when people don't follow God's commandments, are then passed down through subsequent generations. And in a time like this, when people aren't even taught the commandments, well, you can understand and see what's happening. And this is not really new to the Bible. It was done, Euripides back in 400 BC, wrote down that the gods will visit the sins of the fathers upon the children. Horace, in his Odes, but the sins of the father are to be laid upon the children. And for the sins of your fathers, you, though guiltless, must suffer. So it was known even before the Bible was written that this was the way it should be, that if people do not obey what God wants them to do, there will be problems throughout subsequent generations. But these are acts of commission. These are things that people do which they should not do. And those traits which are passed down through the generations. But there's also a warning in the Bible about the sin of omission. Back in 1 Samuel, there's a story of Eli, who was a priest who had 2 sons. But these sons did not follow Eli. They were people who took the sacrificial meat, the sacrifices, and took some for themselves at a time when they shouldn't. They violated the sanctity of the temple. And as a result of that, Eli did not tend to discipline them. He did not try to bring them back. He did not try to tell them what was right. He did not try to correct them. But apparently he just let them go. And as a result, God told Eli through Samuel that the lives of these children would be taken. The lives of these sons would be lost. And war broke out. Both sons were lost in the battle that ensued. Eli himself, when he heard the news, died. You see, we have a God who's given us instructions, given us a way that we should do things. And if we all followed that way, our lives and the lives of our descendants, the lives of the world would be much better. But because most people don't, the world is in the situation it is. Not because people do things, necessarily, but because they neglect to do the things that they should. Sins of omission, as well as sins of commission. Both are not right in the eyes of God. The problem is we don't read the Bible to find these things out. It says in Luke that if we read the prophets and Moses, we'd understand things. But we won't even accept a person who comes back from the dead if we don't know the prophets. That's what's happening. We don't accept what we should be listening to and what we should be doing as a result. Sins of omission, sins of commission, both do not sit well with the Father. Something to think about.